Hello, it's Monica from Crafting with Quilling Lady and welcome back to my channel for another personalized project. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create the easiest fancy fold in Art Deco style with no cutting dies. I really hope you'll feel inspired and craft along with me. For today's project, I'm going to use my favorite collection from Relatively Thoughtful called Art Deco 1920s style. It has amazing design papers, patterns, and colors. And when I was looking at this collection, I was actually inspired to create that fancy fold when I was looking at the patterns here. I absolutely love Art Deco style. It is my favorite, and really like to work with this collection. I created couple of projects with it, and I will leave the links throughout the video if you want to check more projects in that style. And also, I'll leave them at the end of this video. If you like this collection, I leave the link in the description down below, so yes, you can check Relatively Thoughtful shop. As you can see, there are also some elements for fussy cutting, and you can embellish your projects with all those elements. This collection is also perfect for lots of variety of projects, including masculine cards. Now it is time to create our template. So I've got 7 by 11.5 inches white card. I'm going to measure 5 inches from the bottom of the card. I'm going to do it on the left and on the right hand side. So these are my first marks, and then I can start measuring from the bottom, and we are going to create some marks which will be later on very useful for our scoring lines. So I'm going to start with 1/2 inch, then I'm going to measure 2 inches and 2.5 inches. If you want, you can follow the template here, or you can take a screenshot later on and you can keep it in your stash to create your fancy folds with no cutting dies. I'm going to measure 4 and 4.5 inches. Then I'm going to measure 7 inches and also 7.5 inches. So basically we work with symmetry, and I'm going to repeat the same measurements here. So now I'm going to measure 9 inches and also 9.5 inches. And our last line will be 11 inches. So when you look at this, I literally repeat the same measurements on the left and on the right hand side. So the bottom is ready. Now we can move on to our next step. So I'm going to move my ruler where the 5-inch mark is, and I'm going to measure 1.5 inch and 2 inches. When these are ready, that will be the first panel on the left hand side. And then I'm going to measure 3.5 and 4 inches. When this is ready, I'm going to move on to the right hand side. So I'm going to measure from the right, but as you can see, I keep my 0 on the left hand side. So let's start. So I've got 10 inches, then 9.5. When this is ready, I'm going to measure 8 inches and 7.5 inches. And as I told you, you can create your own template or you can take a screenshot. When this is ready, all we have to do now is to draw our scoring lines. And this way, we're going to have all the elements ready to create our card. So first, I'm going to match that 1.5 and 2 inches. Then the top 2 inches with 2.5 inches. So that will be our first panel on the left. Then 3.5 inches with 4 inches at the bottom, 4 inches at the top with 4.5 at the bottom, and I'm going to repeat the same process on the right hand side. And at this point, I thought I really like it, but I have to make some of the scoring lines a little bit longer. So then it is so much easier to actually cut it. So I'm going to match that 5-inch mark on the left with the top of the scoring line. And I'm going to do the same on the left and on the right hand sides. Now matching that 5-inch mark with 11-inch mark, and then on the left 5 inches and that 1/2 inch. So our template is ready. You can take a screenshot or you can create your own. Let's create that card. So I've got the black card from Crafter's Companion, which is 7 by 11.5 inches. And we're going to start putting some of the marks. So I'm going to start with 5 inches on both of the sides. Then I'm going to score 1.5 inches, 2 inches, 3.5, 4. Then I'm going to move on to 7.5, 8 inches, 9.5, and 10 inches. When this is ready, all we have to do is to turn it over, and I'm going to score half an inch, 2, 2.5 inches, 4, 4.5, 7, 7.5 inches, 9, 9.5, and 11. You can always look at your template, and that will be perfectly fine. So here, as you can see, I've got the black line on my scoring board, and I'm going to use it as a guide. So I'm putting my marks I created with my scoring tool, and I'm going to match those lines. And this way we're going to have perfect fancy fold. So it is super easy. If you've never ever created a card in Art Deco style, this is the way to go. So when this is ready, all we have to do now is to actually cut the excess off. So do you remember where we had the 5 inches mark? So that's what we have to cut, and I do encourage you to use a trimmer or guillotine. When this is ready, as you can see, it looks good, but when we fold all those scoring lines, it won't really stand proudly on the flat surface. But there is always a trick to use, and I'm going to tell you what it is. So using your bone folder, make sure you score and burnish all those scoring lines. And now, when these are ready, as you can see, when you hold it, it's not very straight at the bottom. So all you have to do is to actually use your trimmer and cut half an inch from the bottom. You can also use your scissors, and that'll be perfectly fine. And when this is ready, this fancy fold will stand proudly on a flat surface. And that's what I really like about this style. Now it is time to create some layers for our card, and I chose those two design papers from Art Deco 1920 style collection. So let's create our first panel that will go in the middle of the card. I'm going to use my ruler because I want to measure it. I'm going to measure the top and the bottom. So all I have to do is to make sure I leave a gap at the bottom, but also on the sides as well. So here I've got 3.25 panel, and I'm going to cut it, but it is 6.5 inches tall. So as you can see, the measurement is here for you. And there is a trick how to make sure all those mats will work on your card. So I'm going to put it on my card blank I created, and using my pencil, I'm going to make a mark where I want to cut that panel. And this is really easy to do. All you have to do is to remember to leave a small gap. And then I'm going to use my guillotine from Crafter's Companion and cut the excess off. And it is ready, and it will be perfect for this fancy fold. Now it is time to create the side panels, and this time I'm going to use that lighter color, and I'm going to use the same trick. So all I have to do, I'm going to put the design paper here, and I created let's say a narrow panel, which is 2.25. But to be honest, it doesn't have to be that big. I'm using the grid line on my glass mat just to make sure it is nice and straight. And when this is ready, I'm going to create some marks with my pencil, and that will be my guide. And with the side panels, I do encourage you to have the same design panel twice, and then you have to face the design paper together. So you have the white side outside. And then you can cut both of them using your guillotine at the same time, and the angle will be perfect for both of those panels. And that's exactly what I did here. If you're not happy with the measurement, you can always go back and adjust it like I did here. So now I'm going to cut it twice using my guillotine, and when this is ready, the panels look really nice on this fancy fold. Do you like them? I really hope you do. So now we have to create that left and right, and I'm going to use the same trick. So I'm going to line it up with the grid mat at the bottom, and then using my pencil, I'm going to create those marks. Super simple. So I really hope you will create that card. Not only this super simple, you don't need any cutting dice to create. and it looks stunning because it stands proudly on a flat surface. And I also wonder, what is your favorite art style? If you do have it, or maybe you do have your favorite artist, please let me know in the comments down below. Who is it? I would absolutely love to check it. Now, it is time to assemble all those panels, and I'm using my one and only liquid glue, magic glue, because I do have that time to maneuver the elements if I make a mistake. I like this card, but it will be time to embellish it even more. So from this collection, there are few panels with elements to fussy cut, and I absolutely love them. So let's have a look how to embellish the card. And from this element, I decided to use that lady. I think the color palette, it is pretty similar. So I thought, why not? Let's do it, right? And I'm going to use my scissors to fussy cut her out. Super simple and quick. So as you can see, you don't need any nesting dies. You can also use sentiment stamps from your stash. But to be honest, I was very lazy today, and I used some of the die cuts already had ready in my stash for quick cuts. So I'm going to show you that later on. I always like to cut the excess of some of the background in the smaller elements. So I've got Happy Birthday element using gold solar card from Crafter's Companion. I'm going to use Tattered Lace Elegant Alphabet for the name of the recipient. And I'm going to use my low tack tape just to make sure it is super simple to assemble. All you have to do is to make sure it is lined at the bottom straight, and then put some low tack tape, put a few drops of liquid glue, and then adhere it to your project. And I do encourage you to leave it for about 2 minutes before you move the tape away. So this way it will be adhered properly. As you can see, I just wanted to make sure the name will actually fit on that card. And then I'm going to assemble that happy birthday and the lady at the top. And if you do know Art Deco style, it is all about contrast, symmetry, and geometry. So lots of shapes, but also black and gold. That's why I do have the black base and also gold sentiments. Now it is time to create the panel that will go on the back, and I use exactly the same measurement, 6.5 and 3.25 for that back panel. And this is the way to write your message. Now it is time to add some gold gems because it is Art Deco cut in the end. So now you can see the cut is finished, and please let me know what do you think about it. And it goes flat in the envelope as with all the fancy folds. I really hope you are inspired to create your own Art Deco fancy fold. Please let me know in the comments down below if you would like to try it. Thank you so much for watching and spending that time with me. Don't forget to like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit the notification bell because there are more videos coming your way. Have a wonderful day and happy crafting!